Numbers, influence doesn't necessarily, some people have numbers, but they don't have actual influence. Can you convert someone? Can you make someone go and buy something because you said it? Consistency is key. A lot of the times creators will sometimes you get tired, you get fatigued. Creating content is hard. Like, it's not an easy job. And so oftentimes, especially if you don't feel like you're getting the return, whether that be by way of growth or whether that be by way of engagement, you may be like, oh, well, maybe this isn't for me. No, this is for everyone. And so it's just being consistent, and the more consistency that you have, the more that you will grow your audience. Numbers, influence doesn't necessarily, some people have numbers, but they don't have actual influence. Can you convert someone? Can you make someone go and buy something because you said it? You may, as a creator, you may have more influence over 10 members of your family than some people have over the thousands of people that follow them on Instagram or wherever else, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's being consistent to create your core base. Even when you think about artists, there are artists that were relatively underground, may not be the biggest mainstream artists. An artist I would think of is like a Big Crit. Big Crit has been around for over a decade now, and he's been able to consistently have a career, not because he's #1 on Billboard, but because his fan base is so loyal. I remember one time we went on tour and I saw the same guy at different cities. So that's multiple tickets that this one person bought to go and see Crit. So that's what you want out of your growth and out of your engagement, and the people who are actually going to call themselves followers of you. That's what you want. If you can even get 1,000 people who really rock with you, you can make a living off of that. So it's not trying to always be the person that has the 10, 20 million or whatever that may look like. It's making sure that whatever you're giving people, you're giving them the most amount of impact as possible. Also, I would say too, like, think of yourself as a business. Oftentimes, sometimes the growth comes so fast, and before you know it, you look up and you're like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. I have this brand coming at me. I have that brand coming at me. Whenever you start a business in general, this is free attorney advice. The first thing that your lawyer will tell you is consider your exit strategy. What is your exit going to be before you even start? Because the way that you exit determines the way that you progress. So with that being said, even as a creator, decide, what is your exit strategy? Is this because you're building another business that you want to direct people to? Is this because you want to be a superstar? Is this because you just want to make friends? Whatever it is, consider your exit strategy and move according to that. And anything that does not align with that exit, it can't go. So those are like two pieces of advice that I would give creators specifically.
A superstar.
Superstar.
Kat, what would you say?
You know, I was thinking something very close, and I do think because it's so critical in this space, building on what Crystal was saying, this idea of an engaged core. And I know that the creators that are at this conference today are at a certain level, right? You all have tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of followers in what you do. And so knowing that, I think about it a few ways. One, the up and coming creators are not going to need to have as many followers to have as much impact and appeal for brands for a few reasons. One is that the tools and the evolution to Web3 and decentralization, there are less hands in the pot. There's more democratization of access of the fan to the creator and the creator to their community. That's why you needed to sell millions of albums before, because the artist got a peanut, right? A breadcrumb off of that. Now the creators are getting like over half the pie. So it doesn't have to be millions. Now it's great if it is, if that's what you've got, but the watch out is what Crystal said, which is you could have millions, but brands are going to start moving toward more engagement and community because there are more ways to track transaction. And so don't be afraid to re-engage with that core or to branch off the next thing you do, or try a new platform like a Clubhouse and realize, you know, this is early in the long arc of social media. Many of them that we now call the giants were nowhere near as big and as engaged as Clubhouse in their first 2 years.
Correct.
They were hot messes, and you know, and they are what they are now. And so there is this principle of respecting what being early looks like and feels like can be a little bit messy, can be very exciting. You got to figure out your way. To Crystal's point, tie it to other things that you're doing, but don't tap out too early. Being early in these platforms as they grow, mature, scale, grow audience, and radically evolve